Hey everyone, Saintsfan here, and in this GTA 5 video, I'm going to be going over the biker businesses. This is going to be sort of an ultimate guide on which one you should choose based off of what you were looking for. I'm going to be going over the prices, the amount of runs, the amount of hours you need to put into certain businesses if you want to break even and make a profit. So if you've been holding out, this is going to be like the ultimate money guide for the biker business DLC. Hopefully you guys enjoy. As always, if you do, it'd be awesome if you could take a second out of your day to drop the video a like. But without further ado, let's hop into it. Now, this is actually coming from one of the guys over on the GTA Online Reddit. I will leave a link to the document, the Google Doc that he created in the description. It's a lot more detailed. It goes into each individual business with one upgrade, with two upgrades, with all the upgrades, with no upgrades. I just simplified it down for this video, and I'm going to be covering all of the upgrades. But if you do want to see the fuller picture, go into the description. The only thing I did was I converted the amount of hours and the amount or the number of sell runs into what it would be for selling the product at the full price, because in the doc page, the numbers he has, that's actually for selling the product at the lowest amount. But either way, if you want all the other information, it's in the description. We'll start with the lowest one, the document Forgery. You can see to sell locally at a full product, full bars, it's only $84,000, and to sell remotely, it's $126,000. And I don't actually have it, but the full upgrade cost, if you want to purchase every single upgrade, is $1,030,000. And that's in addition to however much the base business is gonna cost you. Like the Grapeseed one, $650,000, the Paleto Bay is $732,000, and then so on and so forth. And you can see actually, you know, in this simple little picture, the hours to break even and the number of sell runs that goes in order from the cheapest to the most expensive. So you can just go into the business website and then figure out which one's the cheapest and then compare it to the numbers. Now for the document Forgery, if you want to break even on the least expensive, it's going to put you at 40 hours and about 13.3 number of sell runs. The second one, 41.9 and around 14 sell runs. The third one, 47.7 and 15, almost 16 sell runs. And then the most expensive, it's going to run you around 54 hours and about 18 sell runs. So the document Forgery, for all intents and purposes, is the biggest waste of money in the game, apart from that $5 and $10 million plane and helicopter. You get absolutely no money from the document Forgery, and you spend so much money that it's not worth it. Next up, the weed farm. To sell this one locally, it's $168,000. And to sell it remotely, it's $252,000. Now, the total upgrade cost for this one, if you want all of the upgrades, is $1.5 million in addition to however much the businesses cost. Now, this one's a little bit better than the document Forgery. Still not the best, but the hours to break even, it's 48 and 9 for the cheapest, 50 hours and 9.45 runs for the second cheapest, 56 hours and 10.5 sell runs for the third, and then for the most expensive, 62 hours and 11.6 sell runs. So again, the weed farm is not going to be the best bang for your buck or time, really. Now moving into one that actually makes a little bit more sense, the Counterfeit Cash Factory. To sell locally, it's $196,000, and to sell remotely, it's $294,000. Now, a full upgrade for this one is only $1.6 million, and at the end here, once I go through all of them, I'll show comparisons. The upgrade cost from the weed farm to this is only like $25,000, so it's not that big of an upgrade, and you do get a decent amount more from this Counterfeit Cash Factory. Now, the hours to break even, you can see 44 and 8 runs. The second one, 46.4 and about 8.7 runs. The third one, 52 hours and almost 10 runs, and then the most expensive one, 58 hours and around 11 sell runs. So not bad, but you'll see, compared to the cocaine, it's just, I don't know why anyone would buy anything else besides the cocaine. Getting into the fourth one, though, the Meth Lab. This one is the second most that you can make. You can see to sell locally, it's $238,000. To sell remotely, it's $357,000. Now, the weird thing, the total upgrade cost is $1.9 million. You'll see when we go to the cocaine, that's actually more. So just keep that in mind really quickly. But the hours, so it's going to take 48 hours roughly and about 8 cell runs to break even, 50 hours and 8.3 cell runs to break even on the second, least expensive. For the third, it's going to be roughly 55.6 hours and 9.27 cell runs to break even. And then for the most expensive property down in the city, roughly 61 or 62 hours to break even with 10.3 cell runs. Now moving into the cocaine, this one is the best, even though it's one of the most expensive. So to sell locally, it's $280,000, but to sell remotely, it's $420,000. And the total upgrade cost is only $1.895 million. So that's actually cheaper by around $60,000 compared to the Meth Lab. And this one pays out more. And you can see, in terms of hours and number of cell runs to break even, this one is by far the best. It's only 34 hours and 6.8 cell runs for the least expensive. For the second one, 35 hours and 7 cell runs. For the third one, 40 hours and 8 cell runs. And then for the most expensive, the one in the city that's like 1.8 million, it's only going to take 44 hours and 8.9 cell runs to break even. And you can see in this comparison picture, now this one doesn't have the cocaine, this one has the document forgery, but compared to all of them, the document forgery is just, it doesn't make any sense to do that. The weed one isn't horrible, but it's not great either. And the Meth Lab is actually, in my opinion, not worth it either. The only one out of these four is the Counterfeit cash. The Counterfeit cash, it takes less hours, even though the number of cell runs might actually be more. Now, if at any point you want to pause the video, that's perfectly fine. If I'm going too fast, then you can pause it and look at these numbers a little bit better. But moving into the final comparison, this one, I took the document forgery out, so we moved everything up a little bit. The weed farm would now be the lowest, and then you get Counterfeit cash at the top right, and then Meth Lab and the cocaine. Now, if we just take a look at all the numbers here, the cocaine, the number of hours to break even and the number of cell runs is far fewer than every other one. You would think that the Meth Lab, being one below the cocaine lockup, it wouldn't be that much of a difference. But you can see if you buy the most expensive Meth Lab, it's going to take you 61 hours to break even. Where if you buy the most expensive cocaine lab, it's only going to take you 44 hours to break even because you get a lot more money and the upgrade cost is actually less for the cocaine lockup. So I know, unfortunately, maybe a lot of you guys went out and either purchased a weed farm or a Meth Lab, but the best two, in my opinion, you know, if you want to go the cheaper route, go with the Counterfeit cash. But if you want to spend the most amount of money just to get that money back quicker, then the cocaine lockup is easily the best choice. Now, before we end the video, I want to mention that to actually get the numbers that he has in his spreadsheet, like if you want to get the number of hours or the number of cell runs based off of selling locally, not remotely, then just times any of those numbers by 1.5. Because that's actually the amount that selling remotely bumps the price up by. But I found this kind of interesting how the cocaine lockup is far better than any of these other businesses that Rockstar implemented or put in the BIKER DLC. You guys can obviously let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I'm actually kind of curious now. How many of you guys went out and purchased something other than a cocaine lockup? I mean, for me, I purchased the weed farm, and now seeing these numbers, I'm a little upset to find out that it's not as great as I guess it may have seemed. Also, and do keep this in mind, if you haven't bought any of these businesses, or maybe if you're going to go buy a cocaine business now that you see it's way better than all of the other ones, the one up in Paleto Bay is not worth it because the amount of time that you're spent on the road driving all the way to the bottom of the city just to go all the way back to the top of the map, you're going to get really frustrated by doing that. And then the ones in the city aren't bad, but with those you have to worry a little bit more about griefers. I think the one in Sandy Shores is probably the best one that you're going to find in terms of location, price, and not dealing with as many griefers. Thank you all for watching though. If you did enjoy, please drop it a like. I'm going to have one more video coming out later today, so subscribe if you're not already so you don't miss that. But hopefully this video did help you understand the businesses and how much they make and how much you can get a little bit better. See you all in the next one. As always, it's your boy Saintsfan. I'm out. Peace.